One of the most challenging questions that people ask me, probably daily, is, what kind of trainer are you? Because they're looking for one of two possible answers, purely positive or balanced. Like, those are the only two options. That's a very challenging thing for me to answer because nobody really seems to understand the real meaning of those two terms, or the fact that there's other options out there. And I'm not gonna lie, my feelings definitely get a little bit hurt when people assume that I'm a purely positive trainer, because you're basically assuming that I have absolutely no education, no clue, and no experience. No offense. There is no such thing as purely positive, because a purely positive trainer would reward the dog whether they should or not. They would reward the dog for literally everything. So when they say sit and the dog does not sit, they would still reward them. But they don't do that, right? That same purely positive trainer is exercising negative punishment when they withhold that treat because the dog did not obey. There is no such thing scientifically as a purely positive dog trainer. Just like when they hold them back on leash, that's no longer purely positive. The problem with balanced dog training is that the term is thrown around so loosely and so commonly, nobody knows what the hell it even means, right? Give me a definition of balanced training. So some people, many dog trainers would say that they balance corrections and rewards, that they reward and they correct the dog. But what is balance to you? 50-50? Because that is the mathematical, like that's balance, 50-50. So does a balanced dog trainer reward as often as they correct and correct as often as they reward? Jesus, I really hope not. But the meaning of balanced is all relative to who you're talking to. Just like words like exciting or amazing or, strength, speed, intensity. Like, what's strong to you is pathetically weak to Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. The purely positive camp, they view balanced dog trainers as trainers who just brutally hurt and abuse and scare animals. And that's like all they do. They just beat them and yank and crank. But I'm a balanced dog trainer. And I view tons of methods that I see from other balanced dog trainers as archaic and outdated and inhumane and excessive and inefficient. So, if we both call ourselves balanced dog trainers, why are we so wildly different with our methods? Why is it that one balanced trainer corrects the hell out of a puppy for everything they do, and I don't really correct puppies? Why is it that one balanced dog trainer will lift a dog off the ground and choke them out with a choke chain, which I literally won't use at all, I don't even own one, but we're still balanced? Balanced. What's balance? The reason why so many of you assume that I'm a purely positive dog trainer is because you really don't see me correct dogs. Then again, most of my clients don't either, because I don't need to. If things are addressed properly, you shouldn't have to correct dogs nonstop all the time. If the dog needs a correction, then you correct them in a humane, productive way. Correction shouldn't be horrible and painful. What I explain to my clients is that when a dog corrects a dog, they don't hurt them. They're not angry. A mother doesn't grab the scruff of a puppy's neck or pin them down with anger and rage and there's blood everywhere. It's emotionless. It's like when you're acting up as a kid, your father could grab you by the throat and throw you through a wall, or they could just look at you and go, knock it off right now. Calm, but they say it like they mean it. They're assertive. If you address things properly, if you take the right angle, you shouldn't have to correct every single thing your dog does. How is that balanced if that's what you're doing? If you are correcting everything all the time, over and over and over and over again, but the problems are still there, then obviously your training is very unbalanced. And you need to find a way to balance it out, because you're overcorrecting. My approach to training, my version of balance, I reward the holy hell out of my dogs, and especially the dogs that I work with. I reward like crazy when I use food, and I'm almost always using food. During actual obedience, especially with clients' dogs, I rarely correct the dog at all in obedience. Once they get to more advanced, like that can change, but even then, it's not high, hard corrections. I apply a proper, efficient, painless correction when and where it's needed. But my version of balanced, I'm probably rewarding 95% and correcting 5%. That's balanced to me. But I also have a very different approach to dog training because I don't just go address the symptom, I address the problem. And the problem is almost always the relationship. And the number one thing that I work on with my clients is their relationship with their dog. Because no amount of corrections is technically going to correct your crappy relationship. Just like no amount of rewards is going to either. It takes a balance of both. A proper and efficient balance of both. But that relationship outweighs everything. Your obedience does not outweigh or overshadow your crap relationship. You need to have the right relationship with your dog to get what you need out of them, right? But just like balanced training, I believe in a balanced relationship. My dogs don't just take advantage of me and do whatever the hell they want whenever they want and demand things and push me around and, tell me what to do, like most people's dogs do. My dogs look at me for guidance and leadership and support and assistance and approval and acceptance and permission. They look at me as a leader, not as a ruthless tyrant and not as a walking treat dispenser. It's balanced. But when you're looking for a dog trainer, you got to be careful because you can't just look for those key words. You can't just look for purely positive or balanced, because what does that even mean to most people? Not a whole lot, because everyone has a completely different meaning and definition. If you put 100 dog trainers in a room and ask them what their version of balanced dog training is, you'll probably get like 98 different answers. And then you might get those two friends that agree, right? Words, keywords and catchphrases and stuff that I do stay away from are trainers that say absolutes, like always and never and only. Like they always do this, they never do that, and they only use this. That shows that they are not balanced because they completely lack diversity and they have no idea how to train outside of their little box and bubble. Those are I also stay very, very, very far away from purely positive. Purely positive training is awesome for little puppies. That's what I do when I'm working with a little puppy. It's purely positive. Just kidding, because I also use negative punishment when I withhold treats. But it looks like purely positive. But purely positive training is wildly ineffective for actual legitimate behavioral problems, and that's what I specialize in. You don't fix behavioral problems by just dumping food on your dog's face and turning your back when they do something wrong. It's hard because people want to know the keywords to look for when finding a good dog trainer, but there are no keywords aside from avoiding always, only, never, purely positive. Things like that I avoid, but otherwise you really have to take a significantly deeper look at that person's training and see that they are diverse. That's what I look for, is diversity in their training methods and philosophies and ideologies. If they don't have diversity, they have nothing. If they don't have diversity in their training, I guarantee you they also do not have success. If a dog trainer is not able to balance out their methods and the tools that they use and their approach to dog training, if they can't change it on the fly, if they can't step outside their comfort zone, if they can't view things from a different angle and play devil's advocate and, apply some diversity to their standard, procedures, that's someone you should stay away from, because it really is all about balance and they don't have it.